When you get old, it seems that a lot of old people's memories seem to disappear, starting with short memory and moving into the past as you go. And it seems that at the end of my life, if that happens to me, the only thing I might remember is Antibes. And that's okay with me. When my parents got married, they found a little cabin, and it's in a small town near Nice. They lived in this cabin. It had no running water. It had no electricity. My grandmother came to visit them from the States, and she looked at the way they lived, and she offered my father an early inheritance. So she asked my mom, "What kind of house would you like?" And my mom told her she would like a lot of light. They ran around and they found this house in Antibes, 4 rue du Bac-Castellet. So the house that they found was 500 years old. It's stuck to a whole bunch of other houses. It's like a labyrinth of little streets, and all the houses are connected, And they found this house. It was the tallest house in the neighborhood. It had a beautiful view of the ocean, big windows that gave in a lot of light, and brings in a lot of light in the morning, and pleasant light in the afternoon. Antibes was heaven. Every day I went to the beach. My mom would pick me up from school, we'd go to the beach, get a little swim, crack some eggs, some hard-boiled eggs, and eat a little bread, and then go back to school. We had a neighbor called Marie-Jeanne Fontaine. She was a poet. She lived right next to us, or just across from us. And she would write me poems. And she would write poems about Antibes and about Christmas, and she would slip them under my door. And I, in turn, would write her a note that said, "Chère Madame Fontaine, je t'aime beaucoup et je te fais un gros bisou." "Dear Madame Fontaine, I love you very much, and I'm sending you a big kiss," and I would slip that under her door. I remember that. When I was 4 years old, Mormon missionaries knocked on our door, and my father and my mother decided to convert. And then when I was 10 years old, my father started working for the Mormon church, and we moved away. It was over. The life in Antibes was over. I went to church every week. I read my scriptures. It was important to me. It was my framework, and I had always an interest in those kinds of things, I think. And when I was on my mission, my parents sent me a letter telling me they had sold the house. And that broke my heart. I was really sad because there's no other place on earth I feel connected to. In my early teens, I was a very devout Mormon. I would talk to others about it. It's not that I necessarily wanted to convert them, but I wanted to share. And Mormons share. That's part of the thinking, you share your belief. I would hang out with my neighbors downstairs, Jean and Félix, and oftentimes Didier, who was a friend of Jean, would come over. And then one day, I must have borne my testimony one too many times, and said something sincere but stupid, and he demonstrated to me, using some very simple and beautiful logic, that I did not know what I was talking about. That my feelings were not a real measure of how things were in the world. Just because I felt a certain way didn't mean that God existed, that Jesus was his son, that Joseph Smith was the prophet, So I walked away from that conversation in total shock. And I remember going upstairs and sitting down with my parents and saying, I am no longer a Mormon. I had been dying to go back to Antibes and do videography, shoot things in Antibes. It was around that time that Anne Schlegel contacted me through YouTube. And she said, hey, I'm the artist in residence at the Villa Fontaine. And she explained to me that the city had made the house available to artists who come 3 months at a time from all over the world and stay for free at the villa. When I got home, I went back through all my papers, found some poems of Madame Fontaine, and I read one which was about Antibes, and I used my footage to decorate the poem, and I sent it to Antibes, and I said, here's a poem about Antibes. And from there, they sent me an invitation to say, okay, you can be the artist in residence anytime you want. So I said, okay, summer of 2014.
Antibes, la plus touchante des cités, promise depuis le fond des âges. Bien avant nos naissances, tu existais. Malgré les temps, fidèle demeure ton image. Les tuiles roses centenaires, penchées sous nos vieilles maisons, faites des pierres grises de nos carrières, sont des temples où nous dormons. Vieilles ruelles à peine écloses, où les maisons sont rapprochées, pareil à un couloir où l'on ose se profiler pour méditer. Méditer sur un grand passé peut-être, devant la Méditerranée, sur les remparts où nos ancêtres, où les fantômes rôdent courbés. Lorsque grondent les vagues, submergent les bateaux des pêcheurs, chères dames de la garde, tu les protèges, et à bon port, nos marins reviennent vainqueurs. Et les deux tours sarrasines, altières, se dressent vers le ciel, pareilles à des amantes divines, devant les Alpes et face à l'Éternel. Tu es chanté, ma vieille ville, mon beau village d'antan. Dieu t'a voulu presqu'île, les peintres et les poètes sont tes amants.
The gem, for me, is the Vieille Antibes. But the sea is the extension of the Vieille Antibes. You cannot have the Vieille Antibes without the sea. It's still authentic, it's still real, because you'll never change Antibes, you can't change it. There's no room to do that, there's no space, there's no parking lot that you can turn into something. Everything is has been there for 500 years and it's going to be there for the next 500 years. Look at the fishermen. They look just the same. Their boats look just the same as I remember them. Denis has this incredible face of a fisherman. I mean, he looks like a boat captain. I liked him immediately, so of course I wanted to hang out with him. And Pierre-Emmanuel doesn't come from Antibes, he comes from the north, but he's drawn to the same things. He's there for the poetry of it. He came down to Antibes and he's working as a fisherman for the poetry of it all. They go out in the evening and they put their nets down. The night passes and the morning comes and they get up really early and they go and retrieve the nets. And then they sort out the net, they pull out the fish, and they go and sell the fish at the market. It's all there. There's nothing more simple than that. I asked him if I could go and fishing with him. So he said, yeah, if you show up at 6 a.m., you can go out with us and we'll retrieve the nets. And And I went, had a wonderful time, except I was sick, but got some beautiful footage. And I put all the settings on auto. Just do what you normally would do, I would tell them. And no, don't mind me, And they said they made, they were kind, they made jokes like, you're going to attract a lot of fish. I think it's illegal for them to dump things in the water to attract fish. And so if they have a puker on board, it's perfect, I mean, I was deeply shocked and saddened when I found out that my religion wasn't what I thought it was. I had nothing. We want what's real. I want what's true. In fact, I don't care if it's pretty as much as I want it to be real. Living Antibes and finding it again in Madame Fontaine's poems, the burden was lifted. I felt completely free. Antibes is my church, it's my pilgrimage, and it's as close to heaven as I ever hope to get.